Hot take number 1. The Dallas Cowboys are not a playoff team this year.
I agree.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CNS Unfiltered. We got Week 7 Fantasy Football. X, thank you for joining me. I know it was very last second. So normally we film our episodes on Wednesdays, but it is my brother's birthday. Shout out to my little brother. He also designed the logo, all of our logos. So we're filming this on Tuesday. So if the odds change or people are out, that is why. So I apologize in advance. And just a reminder to everyone, please like and subscribe. Also, you can check out our website at www.cnsunfiltered.com. I'm currently taking pre-orders on stuff. You don't have to worry about the unfiltered stuff. That's our other show. You know, all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm going to be taking pre-orders. So if anybody's interested in this stuff, please let me know. But anyways, the store's there. I'm going to get some stuff because I want to see how it looks. Hey, Devontae to the Jets. Are you surprised by that? I'm really not. Like, I kind of expected it. Once Derek Carr got hurt, I was like, oh, well, I mean, that's where he's going to go.
I mean, we all figured anyways, like Aaron Rodgers straight up ran out his head coach and got him fired. So, I mean, let's be real. He's commanding that GM right now and told him, hey, you're going to go get Devontae. He runs that organization right now. And so he wanted Devontae Adams. He was going to get him. I think we all know. We all knew it. And then Amari Cooper to Buffalo.
I mean, that's great for Josh Allen owners. That's great for Amari Cooper owners.
Yes, 100%.
I mean, he definitely is a quarterback.
Shakir owners, though. Shakir owners now
and
just
Coleman
drop.
and Kincaid.
That's unfortunate for them. They're gonna take a little bit of a hit
pretty soon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
I think we saw from both teams in that Monday night game that it was just like their offenses were lacking something. Obviously, James Cook was out for the Bills, but Aaron Rodgers, like, he can only throw it to Garrett Wilson so much, and he involved Breece Hall a lot more, which was nice. But at the same time, those two guys aren't going to handle it. I mean, Allen Lazard made a great Hail Mary catch, so I'll give him credit for that. But I think with acquiring Devontae Adams, or was it Amari Cooper, they dropped MVS. Valdez-Scantling got cut. And I believe he was on
for Buffalo?
The Buffalo. And then for Adams, they're trying to trade Mike Williams right now. So
So the one thing that I just want to put out there is I probably wouldn't. I didn't add it on the list, but I probably wouldn't start Cooper or Devontae just because you don't know what their role is right now. They're coming in on a Tuesday. They're probably going to get their Wednesday realistically, and they're only going to be used in certain packages. They're only going to be used very, very lightly. So for everybody that's all hyped, like I am, I'm an Amari Cooper owner, but I'm hyped. But that first week, this week, you're probably safe going somewhere else. Next week, hype it up, boys. Hype it up. But for now, I probably would lean a little bit away from that.
I think it just depends, too. Like, I have a 14-man league, and I have Devontae, and I literally have no other receivers, so I'm starting him. And just kind of hoping. And Devontae's already in New York, so I'm like, cool. Like, that, to me, is more...
If you have no choice, obviously, but, I mean, in your smaller leagues or, whatever you got going on where you have an option to go somewhere else, 100% you should go somewhere else because they are going to be limited. So just keep that in mind.
But with that being said, we're going to start getting into our starts and sits. So this week I got Baker Mayfield starting against Baltimore. Baker Mayfield's been an absolute terror. He threw a lot of interceptions. Kind of reminds me of a prime Ryan Fitzpatrick, if you will. But I mean, I like him against Baltimore. Baltimore's defense has not been very well fantasy-wise. On paper, they're a great defense, but just I don't know what's going on. They're giving up a lot of points. And actually, I put Rodgers, and I kind of put a question mark. I'm not really sure. He's playing against Pittsburgh. The defense is good, but Aaron Rodgers, I just figured with his new toy, you never know. You never know. Him and Devontae have the chemistry. He's played with Rodgers. Like, the time between him and Rodgers playing was a lot shorter than when him and Derek Carr first played. So, obviously, there's some growing pains there in the bad Raiders offense when Devontae came in. But, I mean, Rodgers needs a guy, and Garrett Wilson's getting doubled. So, I think that's kind of going to open it up both for both of them and just hopefully that old chemistry comes back and kind of helps out with them. However, I am sitting Goff against Minnesota. Minnesota has been the number one defense this year. Young, good defense. And Goff, he did all right last game. I mean, they won by a lot, but his stat line wasn't anything crazy. But going into Minnesota is always tough, and it's a divisional game. And with that being said, I'm actually going to sit Darnold versus Detroit as well. Just because Detroit's defense, even though they just lost Hutchinson, is still very good. I mean, we've seen them blow out the Cowboys. And the Cowboys have a decent offense. Their defense is absolute garbage, and Angel can probably attest for that. And he's hurting right now. I think a lot of Cowboy fans are hurting. So I'm not sorry, but I mean, you guys had it coming. X, who you starting at quarterback?
So I'm starting Jaden Daniels against Carolina. Carolina is still a mess. That offense had a couple good weeks, and then they got figured out real quick. I like Daniels. Daniels is starting to get the chemistry with his receivers. He's starting to figure it out. Scary Terry's starting to become somebody again. So that's solid. That Carolina defense it looks like a peewee team playing against a varsity team every time you watch them get on the field. It's just weird and awkward. I feel like they really don't know what they're doing. But Carolina's just a mess, so Daniels is going to probably have a very good game. So my second one that I'm starting, actually put two, just for the simple fact, one of them is Flacco going against Miami. I would start him. However,
this week.
Exactly. It is possible, though, that Richardson might end up getting injured and Flacco comes in. So I don't know. But it might also be the fact Flacco's also won, so we don't really know. But for some reason, they end up changing what they want to do and they want to go Flacco, then I would start Flacco against Miami. So if that doesn't happen, then you're going to, for once, actually start Trevor Lawrence against New England. New England's still a mess. They have a little bit of an offense now, which I actually like, but their defense is still a mess. So you're probably a safe bet starting that. I'm sitting Dalton against Washington for obvious reasons that I just said before. So I don't really need to go that much into that. I'm actually going to sit Murray against the Chargers just because Murray still, to me, I'm not sold on him. He has good weeks. He has terrible weeks. Harrison is starting to get injured. He's starting to drop passes. Like there's just a lot of things that are happening, and Connor is really kind of starting to become like that offense in more of a sense. You could tell that the play calling is getting more confident with him rather than they are really with Murray. So I don't think Murray's going to have that great of a game as far as stats lines go. Cardinals might still win it, but as far as fantasy purposes go, I wouldn't start Murray.
Yeah, I agree. I was like, I don't think Joe Flacco's playing this week because when I was reading earlier today, I believe it said Anthony Richardson is starting this week against Miami.
Well, that's why I had a backup just in case.
Yeah. And I don't know if anybody actually has Trevor Lawrence on their team, but if you do, I am so sorry.
We all are.
I'm so sorry.
You deserve this losing record.
Yeah. Next, we got running backs. So I'm starting Chuba at Washington. Jonathan Brooks is still on the PUP list. There's rumors that he might not even play really much this year, I think because they're just that ACL injury, so they're kind of slowly bringing him back. So Chuba's been on a tear. He's a must start unless you got other high-end running backs like I do. But against Washington's defense, I think he'll be fine. And then I'm actually starting Dobbins against Arizona. Dobbins did pretty well last week. He's like, I think, top 10 ranked this week against Arizona. Arizona's offense gives up a lot of rushing yards. So I really like him this week, and Jim Harbaugh loves to run the ball. Absolutely loves to run the ball. And if you don't believe me, go look at Justin Herbert's fantasy stats and stats for the games since week one. Sitting, though, I'm actually going to be sitting Jahmyr Gibbs against Minnesota. And I know that's probably hard for some people, but Minnesota has a very stout defense. Lions just signed David Montgomery to a 2-year contract extension. He's going to be there for about 4 years. David Montgomery's getting a touchdown every game. Jahmyr Gibbs is not. So him going top 3 or top 5, top 6, whatever he did this year was not it. And I just think he's going to have a little bit of a struggle against Minnesota's defense. And next, I'm sitting Hunt against San Francisco. Even though San Francisco's defense is a little banged up, Kareem Hunt is a power runner. And I just don't see him doing very well against San Francisco, and I do believe that Kansas City is probably going to look to the air with some of those weaknesses in the backfield there. So, X, who do you got starting at running back this week?
Starting, I got Mostert against Indianapolis. I like, as far as I know, a chain's still out. And even if he comes back, honestly, I don't see them really. They have a two-headed beast, kind of like, Gibbs and Montgomery. So I feel like they would just kind of slowly add him back in there. They're not going to really push him too much. So I feel like Mostert has a little bit more high value, and Indianapolis's pass rush, defense as a whole is just garbage. So Mostert's going to probably have a good game, even in catching aspect. This I never thought I would say. I'm actually going to start Pollard against Buffalo. Pollard had a good game. I think offense is starting to get more comfortable with him. Spears didn't really show too much, and Pollard is really making a case for himself as starting to solidify that harder role as being a starter. So I feel like now you could see over the past couple of weeks, they're starting to rely on Pollard a little bit more. And I feel like he's got a lot of opportunity to do big things. Buffalo, I mean, with how bad Tennessee's offense is, I'm not really sure what you kind of game plan for. But I just think that Pollard's going to have a good game in both the backfield catching and just being able to run. I'm sitting again, Etney. I know I always say his name wrong, but I don't care.
Etienne. I don't think he's hurt. So
he's
hurt.
garbage. Is
he's
he?
Hurt.
Well,
yeah.
Well, I think they were saying that he was day by day, so he might still play, but I would sit honestly. If you drafted him, I'm sorry, but he's just done. He's done. He's not doing anything. That Jaguars offense is absolute garbage. Like, this will probably be the last time I ever even put him on a sitting list, because honestly, you should probably be looking for other backs and use him as trade bait just based off name. And then I'm also going to sit Williams against New Orleans. Javonte, that Denver team is just weird.
Definitely weird.
I don't understand what Sean Payton's trying to do. I think he's trying to make magic out of whatever. And they're feeling a little bit more confident with Bo Nix rather than really the running game. Williams hasn't really done a whole lot. So, I mean, you shouldn't really have a Denver Bronco running back anyways at this point, because you should realize that they're garbage. So, New Orleans, I'm not 100% on that train, but I'm still running on that train that they are going to mess up Denver. So, do not start him.
So next, we're going to go into receivers. For the first time, I think he's made this list. I'm starting Godwin versus Baltimore, man. Godwin's been in an absolute tear. Last time I checked, he was ranked 6. He's a high-end receiver, but, and I want to give the caveat to, like Bobbert and everybody else, because I am trying to trade for him. He gets injured every year, and we see this every year. Well, you have a bunch of good games, and he's out for the season. So,
yeah,
his time is coming. So, Mike Evans owners, it's okay. Hold on. He'll eventually be hurt, and you'll be fine. Next, Scary Terry. So, you talked about him earlier. Scary Terry and Jaden Daniels have developed this chemistry, and Scary Terry actually has a decent quarterback throwing to him. Against a really boo-boo Carolina team, I think it's going to be a really big game for him, and I really think he's going to go off. However, I'm going to be sitting Rashid Shaheed against Denver. Spencer Rattler is not it. Derek Carr is better than Spencer Rattler. He's better than Taysom Hill. He's better than Jake Haener. And sorry, Fresno State fans, but the steroid user is not that good. I don't think he's going to have a big game, and without a good quarterback there. And next, so with the news that Joe Flacco was going to be taking a back seat and Anthony Richardson was going to be coming back, you're going to, from now on until you hear that Joe Flacco's starting again, you're sitting all the Indianapolis receivers. I've seen a lot of sources, like, I can't say their names without getting copyrighted, but big sources where you can watch football games, if that makes sense. 4-letter company who has fantasy shows. They said, oh, you need to go get Josh Downs. You need to go get Josh Downs. All right, now you don't. Not if they're starting Richardson, you don't.
No.
He's going to be hopeless. Same with Michael Pittman, and I'm a Michael Pittman owner. When Joe Flacco's in, all those guys are getting elevated. Whether Anthony Richardson, the only person that's elevated is Anthony Richardson if he can get something done with his legs. So I don't expect them to do well against Miami, and I don't expect you to start them unless you absolutely have to, because you're going to be in for a big bust this week.
Piggybacking off that, I would say right now would be a good time for you kind of need that little receiver. Give Pittman, Downs, give them a couple weeks. Let the owners of those players start to feel the pain of Richardson. Do sneak in a little trade there. Sneak in a little trade because watch, Joe Flacco will come back, and you can get him for a steal right now. Deadline is coming up, but if you could try and get him on a steal, I think right now would be a good time because I got a hunch that Flacco's going to end up coming back. All right, so starting, we're running hot with the boy T. Higgins going against Cleveland. Jamar Chase is still getting a lot of attention. Higgins is starting to get that single man coverage, or he's not only that, he's not getting that defense is not putting safety help over the top. So he's able to just run routes free, and he's really showing it. He's been showing it for the past 2 games. So I like Higgins against Cleveland. Cleveland's offense is absolutely terrible, so that defense is going to be on the field all day and really tired. This one I was surprised, but I would actually start Watson from Green Bay against Houston. Yep, I would. Watson is kind of becoming he's becoming like the Wes Welker. He's not the number 1 receiver on that team, but he works magic out of that slot. And Love, for some reason, is having this weird fixation of him right now. Does that mean you don't start Jalen Reed and all that? No, you still start them. But for those of you that have Watson, right, as your little wobbler that you're like putting in that flex, start him. I like him against Houston. Houston's offense has been struggling more than they should be. So I think Watson will have a lot of opportunities, especially out of that slot position. Who am I sitting? I'm sitting the boy Evans against Baltimore. I'm sitting the boy Evans. Godwin's been getting a lot more targets. Godwin's been a little bit more of a favorite from Mayfield right now. And that's no fault to Evans. That's just Evans is the best receiver on the team, so he gets double covered. I just don't feel like he's going to really be doing a whole lot. I would sit him if you had other options. And then I'm also going to sit Garrett Wilson versus Pittsburgh. Garrett Wilson gets knocked back because Devontae Adams is now there. Like I said, this week, probably not going to be there. But if you noticed on that Monday night game, Rodgers gave up on him 100%. He dropped 2 touchdown passes, and you could see it that Rodgers gave up on him. So Allen Lazard started getting more attention. Everybody else started getting more attention. And so
then Jim Rodgers made a call too. And that's what happened. After all that, Jim Rodgers made a call, and Devontae Adams is now New York Jet.
You know what? And that's the thing, dude. But at the end of the day, Wilson, I don't think now is going to be as viable moving forward just because of that game. Because Aaron Rodgers is a girl and kind of a bitch, to be honest. And super diva. He's a girl about it. He holds grudges. I don't think he's going to let Wilson live it down. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing Lazard, a lot of packages on that offense having Lazard end up kind of sneaking his way in over Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's absolutely fair to say. And I mean, we will see, right? I would also argue that Wilson might actually have more opportunities because he won't be getting double covered as much. But we will see. We will see. Next, tight end. So even though I have a feeling X is going to say some dumb crap about this, I'm starting George Kittle against Kansas City. Kansas City has always been known to give up a lot of points to the tight end. Kittle's honestly the only reliable receiver that Purdy has as far as consistency. I mean, and Debo, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, Kittle is going to be there. They have their own. I mean, I would argue they have a better tight end who's had a couple, like 2 good games all year, but in Travis Kelce. But I like Kittle versus Kansas City, Super Bowl rematch. I don't know how I like our chances, but Patrick Mahomes has not been performing, but this is usually the time where he starts ramping it up. So we're going to see. But as far as fantasy purposes, I do think Kittle has a big game because I think the other boys are going to be struggling. Next, I'm starting Evan Ingram. I said to sit him last week, and that's on me. I thought that he was going to come in back from injury, not really do a whole lot. Trevor Lawrence has been doing pretty boo-boo. But he came in and had a big game in England, which, I mean, really surprising. I think actually the thing we should talk about is how surprising Caleb Williams did in England. Because usually, or London, I should say, because a lot of people don't do well in London. And he absolutely destroyed the Jaguars.
And Jacksonville normally shines in those over-the-sea games.
Because they're used to it.
That was interesting.
But you're starting Ingram against New England. It's just simply because Trevor Lawrence has to throw it to somebody. And if he's not throwing to Kirk, he's going to be throwing it to Ingram because he sure wasn't throwing to Brian Thomas last week. I'll tell you that.
Ugh.
Next, well, it's like I gotta sit Laporta, man, and I think that's the one that hurts me the most because I'm a big Laporta fan. I got his cars, I got his autos. Like if there's a jersey I had that wasn't a Niners jersey, it'd probably be a Laporta jersey. Like that's how much I believe in this guy. But he is playing against a Minnesota defense, very stingy, very good, and they're playing in Minnesota, so I just don't think he has a big game. And mind you, it's week 7 now, but in week 6 was his first time he scored a touchdown all year. So because of that, I don't know if he's going to continue having that success. And I don't think the Detroit Lions are going to do to Minnesota what they did to the Cowboys this week by any means. So, and then next, you're sitting David Njoku versus Cincinnati. And that's just for the simple, obvious reason that look at the quarterback. I mean, Deshaun massage therapist, or he's not a massage therapist, massage goer, whatever you want to call him.
Connoisseur, if you will.
The diddler. We're gonna start back up with this. They're playing against Cincinnati. Obviously you can see Cooper's gone. That might increase Njoku's target share, but Deshaun Watson's not doing anything with that team, man. And I think at this point you just want to stay away from all Browns players until Nick Chubb comes back. So X, who you starting at tight end this week?
So starting, I got the boy Henry going against Jacksonville. I like Hunter Henry right now. I think he got a touchdown, so that was solid. He got some receptions. I feel like May likes him in the red zone. For those of you that don't know, the red zone is 20 yards all the way to the touchdown. Just for some people, are big on football and they're like, yeah, the red zone. And I'm like, do you know what the red zone is? Yeah. Like, do you know what the red zone is? And they're like, yeah, man, when they're in field goal range. I'm like, oh, okay. So for those of you that don't know, red zone is 20 yards into the touchdown. So I think Hunter Henry is a good target for the red zone receptions, which puts him up big for touchdown receptions. So I do like him against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's middle linebackers are pretty good for the most part, but I think that overall that defense is just going to be worn out. So going into it, I like Kincaid against Tennessee. Tennessee has a good defense. They just have a crappy offense to where that defense just gets tired. And Tennessee's weakness is middle linebackers, so that makes a solid case for Kincaid. I'm sitting Kittle against Kansas City because Kittle does it every time. He's had consistency. This is a game he's going to fall off 100%. I'm gonna say 5 points or less is what he's going to have this game. 5 points or less. Don't like him against Kansas City. Kansas City's fantasy purposes, not really always the best, but when it comes to the games like NFL, they, have the refs helping them out. And that's so fair. I feel like Kittle isn't really going to get much opportunity as you might think. I'm running off a hunch that Debo is going to have a huge game.
Well, I think Kittle's the number 1 tight end this week. That's why I put him as the starter.
You can't buy into it, dude.
Look at your options,
I bought into it. I bought into it last year, and I'm not doing it again, dude.
No, I'm saying look at your options at tight end this year. I mean, who else?
I mean, I agree.
It's not going to be Travis Kelce, I can tell you that.
But Kittle isn't running off consistency. He's running off big games to be a tight end number 1 right now. He's just running off big games. I'm also going to sit Schultz against Green Bay. I don't like that matchup really at all. Green Bay has been able to do miraculous things against teams, and I feel like this game is not going to be much different, especially that Texans offense is not running as well as it should be. I feel like they're kind of scatterbrained with all the weapons that they have, and they don't know really exactly how to utilize them. And so I feel like Schultz is going to end up falling to the wayside.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that Houston game, I'm going to keep reminding you every week, CJ Stroud wasn't the number one quarterback in fantasy this year, as some had predicted. Some of us believed he wasn't going to be, but hey, at the same time, they did lose Nico Collins. Give him that. Give him the benefit of the doubt. They did lose Nico Collins, who was the number one receiver this year before he went out. They also lost Joe Mixon, who is back.
That's a coaching issue. Because there's no way on paper this team should be bad. That's a coaching issue.
Okay, well, but what I'm telling you is Nico Collins got hurt. He's out. So, and then they do have Stephon Diggs.
I'm not going to buy that excuse. I'm not going to buy that excuse.
Okay, well, they just got back Joe Mixon, and they did well. So, I think they're going to go back to the run game. Actually, and breaking news, they did trade Cam Akers back to the Vikings, which is weird. But they did. Strange. I think the Vikings did it for depth. So that's just to say, like, we don't know if Aaron Jones is going to come back this week. I hope for the love of God he does to have him. I'm running low on running backs in that league. But if not, Ty Chandler might be there. But honestly, with Cam Akers coming back, I don't really know. It's probably going to be a committee, so I wouldn't even kind of mess with either one of them right now.
Yeah.
But those are just some things to think about. But going into defense very quickly, I'm starting Denver D at New Orleans. I don't like New Orleans. I don't like Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener. I mean, even Derek Carr, I was kind of like, whatever about. And he had a couple good games, and X was on the New Orleans train. I am not. I'm on the Kamara train, but that's it. So I think Denver D, number one defensive fantasy, is absolutely going to stop New Orleans. It's going to be a tough game for him. And I'm taking Bills D versus Tennessee. Will Levis, my God, have the mighty have fallen. His cards are worth nothing. He is the boo-boo quarterback. I need him to put up 4 touchdowns so I can sell everything. Levis, please do something. But with that being said, Bills D is pretty stingy, and they did pretty well against the 40-year-old Rodgers. But in general, they've always been pretty decent, and it's usually really, really hard to do anything against them. So you're taking Bills D for the money. Sitting Houston.
I mean, hold on, though. If you think about it, you're technically playing against Death himself. So I'm just saying. You're not getting past Death. Nothing gets past Death, brother. Except the
Jesus. Well, so you're sitting Houston D at Green Bay. Green Bay's offense has been killer. Jordan Love's come back. I mean, Malik did well. He won some games. Nothing crazy. But Jordan Love is starting to get comfortable on that messed up knee. He's running a little bit. Jaden Reed, Dawes came back after his suspension, did really well. X has a obsession with Christian Watson. I don't get it. But, these boys are doing well, and Josh Jacobs is doing decent as well. Their offense is top tier right now. I would say probably top 10s. Houston's going to be struggling. And then you're sitting Cleveland D, and it's not that Cleveland's defense on paper sucks. It's that they're just on defense so much that by the time halfway through the game, by halftime, those poor boys are so tired that they're just drained. And they're going to be going against Cincinnati, who has, honestly, right now, like a top 5 offense. They're figuring it out. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. I mean, even Chase Brown and Zach Moss. Surprisingly, Chase Brown.
Dude, how weird. How weird.
But just those poor boys. I mean, I think if I was Myles Garrett, I'd be asked to get traded too at this point.
They're earning those millions.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. But X, who are you starting this week?
So I'm actually starting San Francisco against Kansas City. Kansas City does not, purpose-wise, does not do much. Patrick Mahomes, garbage. Travis Kelce, garbage. Rashee Rice, I don't care what you say, was still garbage. So bad that he even went out for the whole season because he was that bad. So he's out.
That's not what happened.
That's 100% what happened. He's gone. Kansas City, fantasy-wise, no bueno, because fantasy does not account for refereeing. Going into the next one, you're going to start Philadelphia against the New York Giants. I'm not sold on the New York Giants. I don't care what Joe has to say. Joe can sit down.
He called him by his first name. He said Joe. We didn't even say New York Giant Joe.
No, Joe. Sit down, brother.
Actually, to be fair, he's not paying attention right now. He's a Mets fan, so he's watching the Mets game right now. He's not even like, I could show you the text. It's crazy. Yeah.
Jeez, you know what?
They're boo-boo too.
Just like Cowboys fans, just like Steelers fans, just like New England fans, they got to find some love somewhere. So they hop on a bandwagon somewhere else. But anyways, Philadelphia has just too good of an offense. A.J. Brown's back. We're going to see big things. Giants aren't going to be able to stop him. We're sitting Minnesota against Detroit. I do not like that matchup whatsoever. Detroit's running back core is on point, which opens up the pass. Williams has ended up becoming something. Amon St. Raw, so it is what it is there. Minnesota just cannot.
You mean Amon St. Brown? Ross St. Brown?
Whatever, dude.
The
sun god. The sun god.
It's not Raw from Smite, bro. It's Amon
St. Dude,
Brown.
It is. It is. The boys dropping the heat. Brown. But regardless, you know who I'm talking about. I mean, Minnesota can't compensate for all of that. I'm also sitting Baltimore against Tampa Bay. I've made the mistake every single time of benching Mayfield just because he had one bad game. So I decided and dedicated that Mayfield is going to be the one to get me on this comeback. We're going to end up winning the Super Bowl with Mayfield. So I'm running Mayfield the whole time. Dude, I'm 1-5 right now. The boy's hurting. He needs Puka back bad. But anyways, man. Mayfield, I'm going to run with him for the rest of the season. I like how he's playing. Godwin's ended up becoming something. Mike Evans is becoming something. It just they're figuring it out and they're making ways to win. So I'm running with that.
You know what's funny is I'm actually gonna be taking your advice opposite, because usually that's how we do things here. If you listen to the opposite of what you say.
How it happens, yeah. Every time.
I already have waivers in. I'm dropping Philly's defense and I'm popping in Minnesota's defense. Well, because look, they had a really bad matchup last week, where they should have done well, and they only in our league, as far as we just talked about the defensive points, right. They put up 5 points. So it's like, do I really want to start them against the Giants? Probably not. Giants beat the Seahawks too, so to me, for our league, for fantasy purposes wise, I'm probably going to start Minnesota because I have a feeling that they can get a couple interceptions and some sacks.
Right.
And it's going to be a close game. I think the game's going to be close. So very tight, not high scoring. All right, next thing, fantasy or not fantasy, we're going to go to week 7 betting, and we're going to kind of fly through this. Like I said, the last week's episode, I can't show it no more. We got copyrighted. I don't know if it was the videos or the ads that played or something. Who knows? I really don't know what happened. But first game, Thursday night, Denver Broncos minus 2.5 versus New Orleans. The total is 37.5. For me personally, just because Derek Carr's not there, I'm taking Denver Broncos at minus 2.5, but the total, I'm taking the under on that.
I'm actually going to take the Saints. I'm still running on that train, even if Carr's not there. I'm actually going to go over. I don't know why I just got that feeling. I got that gut feeling, so I'm going to run with a gut there. I'm running with a gut.
So you do that.
This gut is big, brother.
You and me both. Next game. So I don't know. Is this in England? Where's this game at? Where's Patriots versus Jags at? Sunday at 9:30? 6? It's at 6 in the morning.
Isn't that Australia? Is that the Aussie game?
Is it an Aussie game? Let me see. Hold on.
I think so. I think that's the Aussie game. Because they have an Australia game, they have a London game, and then they got a Brazil game this year. I think the Brazil one already happened, though.
The Brazil one was for week 1 with Green Bay and Philly. Let's see. I'm trying to buy tickets.
I'm pretty sure it's Aussie.
No, I think it's in England.
Is it?
It's in the UK.
All right.
Wembley. It's in Wembley.
Wembley Stadium.
It's in Wembley. All right. New England Patriots versus Jacksonville Jaguars in Wembley. Jaguars are favored by minus 5.5. I'm taking Jaguars. Jaguars are probably going to be moved to England at some point, is what we're thinking. So I'm taking them at minus 5.5. But the total is 42.5. And honestly, I think with how bad both their defenses are, and now with the presence of Drake May actually throwing some touchdowns, I think it's going to be over.
You know what? I'll take you with that. I'll ride with that train.
All right. Next game. Cincinnati Bengals are favored by 6 versus Cleveland Browns. The total is 43.5. I'm definitely taking the Bengals.
Yes.
I might take the under, though. I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of points. I don't think Cleveland's going to put up a lot of points. Next game. I don't even know who would even want to watch this game. It's Tennessee versus Buffalo. Buffalo's favored by minus 8. The total is 41.5. Definitely taking Buffalo at -8. The total though, ooh, I don't know. You know what? Give me the over.
What was the total?
41.5.
41.5.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go under. I'm
Who
gonna
you
go
taking, the
under, but
Bills?
I'm definitely taking the Bills. That's an easy bet.
Next game, we got Miami versus the Colts. Colts are favored by -3.5. So Tua's still out. If I were you, I wouldn't even bet on this game. The total's at 43.5. It's definitely going to be under. I can tell you that. But I don't know because the teams are so bad. Their defenses are so terrible. But did the Colts win by -3.5? I'm asking you because I have no idea.
Colts are going against who again? I'm sorry.
The Dolphins. Backup quarterback.
Oh, no. Miami's gonna win that. I'm going Miami. I'm gonna go Miami on that.
I'll take you on that. Do you think it's going to go over 43 though? I don't feel like it
Oh,
will.
hell no. No,
Yeah.
that's another easy one. No, that's definitely an under. For sure.
I've seen weirder things with the games like that. I wouldn't even touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I agree, but yeah. Yeah.
Next game, Philly -3.5 versus New York Giants. I'm taking Philly at -3.5, and the
Yep.
total's 42.5. I'm going to take the over just because New York has been figuring out. And with the Malik
Gotta go
Neighbors
over.
coming back, you know, they're going to be scoring.
I'm
So
gonna go over. Yep, I'm with you.
don't be surprised if New York pulls out the upset. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Negative.
Yeah, next game, Seattle Seahawks versus Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is favored by -2.5. So there's a thing that I started saying that hopefully X finally ingrained it in his brain as a Kirk Cousins owner. You'll always start Kirk Cousins when he's at home in the dome. And when you always are going to sit Kirk Cousins when he is away because he does not play very well. Seattle's playing in Atlanta. Atlanta's favored by -2.5. I'm taking Atlanta at -2.5. But the total's at 50.5. That's going to be under.
Under, I'm going Seattle.
You're going Seattle?
Oh,
But it's
yep.
Atlanta at home in the dome.
Nope. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying.
And
I'm not buying your shenanigans.
next game, Detroit versus Minnesota. Minnesota's favored by -2.5. I'm taking Minnesota in this game only because it's them at home. I know you're going to be, but Detroit did this to the Cowboys. The Cowboys are garbage, okay? Cowboys are garbage.
I agree, but
their
Detroit's
defense is
still good.
trash. Minnesota, I think, is going to beat them by 3 at home, but I think the total is going to be way under 49.5. It's going to be a close, tight game.
It's going to be under, but I am going to go Detroit.
So you like that recency bias. That's fine. Next game, we got Houston versus Green Bay at -2.5. There's one thing that's hard to do is beat Green Bay and Lambeau. So I'm taking Green Bay at -2.5. And the total for 47.5, I think it's going to go over as long as it's not raining or snowing.
I actually think it's going to go under, but I will go Green Bay with you.
Cool. Next game, Carolina versus Commanders. Man, at the beginning of the season, we would have thought this was the boo-boo game of the week. But let me tell you, there's only one boo-boo team there. I'm taking Commanders at -7.5. The total's going to be 51.5, though. I feel like that's high because I don't know if Carolina scores that much.
Way too low. Yeah,
But
that's going to be... Yes, Commanders do win.
So the next game, I never thought I'd actually say this because I actually like the Rams, but we got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams are favored by -6.5. This might be the boo-boo game of the week.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry, Bevel, but Rams at -6.5. Yes, I'm going to take that, but the total at 43.5. No, unless Cooper Kupp and Puka's coming back, I don't think so.
I agree with everything.
All right. Next game. So this game is going to be the game of the week, besides maybe the Minnesota-Detroit game. And I feel like this should have been a Sunday night game. And it's Kansas City versus San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are only favored by -1.5. I have to be biased here and go with San Francisco, but my head is telling me Kansas City only because they have whooped our ass every time we play them. So my heart is saying San Francisco by -1.5, and the total's going to be under 47.5. But my brain's telling me Kansas City.
It's going to be under, and it's going to be KC.
Next game. This game should not be on primetime, but we got the New York Jets favored by only one, against the Steelers, and they're playing in Pittsburgh. The total's 37.5, and I think that's fair.
I agree.
With the possible introduction of Russell Wilson playing, I'm taking the Jets because they're going to put him in over Fields, and Wilson hasn't been running with that team. I mean, I think they're going to just have a rough one, and Devontae coming back, I think Devontae really will be just enough of a difference to help them get that win.
I'm going to. I'm actually going to still go Pittsburgh. I'm going to still go Pittsburgh, but definitely under.
All right. 2 more games. This game should have been the late night game. I don't know why it's early, but we got Baltimore versus Tampa. Baltimore's favored minus 3.5. I'm taking Tampa. I'm taking Tampa in this game at plus 3.5, and the total's at 48.5, and I think it's going over. Next game. I feel like this is also a boo-boo game too. We got the Los Angeles Chargers favored at 2.5 against the Arizona Cardinals, and the total's 43.5. And this one's going to be probably my hot take of the week. I'm taking Arizona at plus 2.5. And I'm taking the under on the total. I think Kyler Murray, James Conner, Michael Wilson. I know. Oh, actually, is Marvin Harrison hurt still?
He is still hurt.
That's a lie. All right, I'm taking Chargers minus 2.5. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under.
I'm going to take the under and go Chargers as well.
So this last part, usually we do some comments. Oh man, I forgot to show Thor for Griff. Crap, my bad. Hold on, let me pull up a picture of him. So I work from home today, so that was Thor sleeping in the hallway. So there's his
Thor's
picture.
Butt.
Yep, just his butt. So we do have like the who to start to sit, the overreaction, underreaction, panic, don't panic. But I feel like we kind of reiterate the same things every week. So if there's something specifically that you want us to do, and especially now that we like filmed on a Tuesday, like we could have really worked on some waiver pickups.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I know I can think of some guys like right now, if you really have a guy on a buy, like I know there's Josh Downs available. He's not going to be good right now. I don't know if he's worth the pickup right now. And especially that they're going to be working with Anthony Richardson. There's better guys on the waiver wire for you to pick up. Pick up a defense, unless you have a top kicker, like drop your kicker, pick up another guy. Like I picked up Bates last week. He got me 19 points for Detroit. So, I mean, there's a lot of value on the waiver. But if you're a player who does not grab off the waiver, I promise you will not win your league. Because no team is ever going to be healthy by the time they end the season.
As far as waiver goes, the only thing that I'm really going to say is, I mean, if you got a guy that's been riding your bench this whole time, not really doing much, not going to do really much of anything, I would take a chance on somebody that kind of had a big game. So personally, me, I know you're in the league, but I'm going to try and pick up Sean Tucker, running back for.
Well, you got first pick, so of course.
Yep.
Doesn't matter.
But,
doesn't matter.
I'd probably give him a shot just to see what happens. I know Rachaad White might end up coming back. Foot injuries are fickle things, man. So I would just say he's worth a shot in the dark four. Not really anybody else that I can think of off the top of my head that's going to really do a whole lot that is probably even still available at this time. So I would say just give him a shot. I know a lot of people don't have him. The problem with fantasy is we are, reactive, not proactive. So that might have been just his only game and that was it. But,
right.
Normally when coaching staffs see that they got, they might have hit a little gem in the rough, they normally on the next game like to throw him out there a little bit more and see what he can do. So I think he's worth a pickup.
For sure. And so I think the last thing I want to do before we go into our closing is we want to start a new thing here called hot takes. Like I think we should do some hot takes. I'll throw out a couple scenarios and I have my answer, but I'll let you answer first. And part of it is I have a cousin of mine who's going to be coming on at some point and giving us some radical hot takes. So we'll see what happens. But with that being said, hot take number 1. The Dallas Cowboys are not a playoff team this year.
I agree. I don't think they are. Dak Prescott is having the worst season. He does seem to kind of turn it on a little bit, But right now, I think Jerry Jones is about to make a bunch of stupid decisions, and I think that's going to be the downfall.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, we agree. And I mean, I think if Angel were to come in here, he'd probably agree too. As a Cowboys fan, I think a lot of Cowboys fans are hurting right now, and it's not even me.
They're over Dak Prescott, dude.
It's
over.
not even Dak's fault though. It's not even Dak or CD's fault.
It
comes from the top,
like it is, dude.
It's not. It comes from the top. When you don't have offensive line, when you have no running back, no offense to Zeke or to Waddle, but it's not enough, dude. They could have got Derrick Henry for nothing this year, and they passed on the opportunity to grab him. I mean, that's the truth. Imagine if Derrick Henry was on the Cowboys. Holy crap. They'd be 5-1 going to buy for sure. And I mean, something simple like that. I mean, mind you, they were hurt on defense. They still are hurt on defense, but they just got Bland back. Diggs is there, but they lost Micah and they lost Lawrence. The biggest thing too is Jerry Jones. I mean, he was over there threatening radio hosts to fire him and do all kinds of stuff. And it's like, look, his ego is getting in the way of improving that team in the offseason. He makes the least amount of offseason moves, probably other than any other owner in the league, because he doesn't like to spend money. Did you know he only brought back Ezekiel Elliott because they still had to pay him anyways? So they said, oh, well, might as well pay him and let him play for us because we're paying him anyways.
So I think every Cowboy fan kind of agrees with us when we say that Jerry Jones just needs to be an owner, not a GM. Like, you saw what happened with Al Davis, same situation. Al Davis was a GM. They weren't winning, and then they changed it up. They started winning, and then a bunch of scandals and blah, blah, blah. That imploded all in itself, but you got to be an owner. Like, Jerry Jones is a businessman. So Jerry Jones needs to step back from football, let football GMs and coaches do their job, and he can still be running the marketing team, making Dallas what they are, America's team. I mean, tell me that's not the stupidest thing you've ever heard.
Some people say the world's team these days, so.
The world's team? Oh, my God. I
don't want to get into that. Maybe I'll bring Angel on.
No, I'm not. Dude, oh my God, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, dude. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna go on the tangent I really want to go on with that, because that's not worth it to me. But regardless, dude, they're just, I don't care. I really do think that Dak Prescott is one of the problems. Even with, like, he's kind of the same situation as the Jets. Yes, they don't have a running back. Their line is not as good as it used to be, but their line still gives him protection because he manages to pull Will Levis and F it up on his own. So I think that Dak needs to go. I think they need a running back. I think Jerry Jones needs to step back.
I don't know if I want to talk about the Raiders.
Talk about them. Let's go.
I don't know what to say, though.
So the thing with the Raiders is I think Max Crosby needs to jump ship. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a fan. Just because your team sucks, you as a star player, you're just like, oh, I'm out, and just like request trades. I think requesting trades is the dumbest thing ever. If I was a GM, and it's probably why I would never be a GM of football, but if one of my players requested a trade, you want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit you. I'm going to tell my head coach, you're going to sit him. I don't care who he is. It could be Devontae Adams. It could be Max Crosby. Guess what, bro? You're going to ride the bench all year, and you're going to go down, and every single year that you're on that contract, I won't care. I won't care to spend that money. I really wouldn't. I would just put 0, 0, 0, 0. So then when he goes into free agency and tries to freaking go to another team, guess what they get a run off of? 0 stats. 0 stats. Yeah, good luck, dude. Play me, bro. You want to play that stupid game? You want to request a trade? Yeah, guess what, dude? Grow up, be a man, suck it up, sack up, and understand that you're on this crappy team, so be the shining light of that team, bro. But I think since we're in this, wussified NFL world right now, yeah, Max Crosby just jump ship, bro. Go get on the Super Bowl team. Go win yourself what you deserve. That's what we as Tennessee Titans fan, we had to bear the cross, that we had to let Derrick Henry go for the betterment of Derrick Henry and let him go and get a chance at a Super Bowl. We had to bear that. All right? And Raiders fans, you're going to have to bear it, bro. Let him go.
I think the problem is that Max has gone out and said that he doesn't want to leave. He's very loyal to the soil. so to speak.
And you know what, dude? And that's fine. That's okay. And Derrick Henry was the same way. But eventually, he's going to get old, he's going to start diminishing, and he's going to be like, oh, man, I really wish I would have won a Super Bowl. Well, you ain't going to do it with the Raiders, bro. You ain't going to do it in your timeline. You're not going to do it. Do it now.
If he was to go anywhere, honestly, I mean, obviously the Niners would love to have him, but we don't have the cap space for him. I think Detroit makes a lot of sense with the Hutch injury.
I mean, it would. It probably would, but I don't think that Detroit would want to pay that type of money for Crosby and Hutchinson at the same time, because that would kind of handcuff them to free agency. They wouldn't be able to, bolster up anything. So that would kind of suck. I mean, don't get me wrong. Max Crosby is a boy. I love that dude. That dude is tough as nails. And you know what? I respect him as hell for staying on that crappy team. But you know what, dude? Honestly, let the contract ride out. Pay your time up there and then go somewhere else, man.
All right, I got another one for you.
All right, who do we got?
Houston is a wild card playoff team.
So Houston, unfortunately,
let me rephrase. Houston's going to be a 1-and-out Cowboys-esque playoff team this year.
Well, I'm going to disagree. I think they're going to win their playoff game.
You think they go to the AFC Championship?
No. Whoa. Hear me out. They're going to win their first playoff game, and then they're going to lose second round. They're going to lose after that. Because the problem is that coaching staff is that coaching staff's fucking up right now. That coaching staff is fucking up. You have a roster, boys. You have a roster. And you can't make that work? You can't figure it out? Brother, like CJ Stroud is no bum, bro. He's not some Will Levis. He's not some Anthony Richardson. Like, he's not even a Trevor Lawrence, bro. He's the best quarterback in our division right now. And you're telling me that you can't figure it out? Even if you don't have a running back? Bro, it's not that hard. It's really not. You have 3 of the best receivers in the NFL right now. You have a tight end that's super underrated. Like, tell me how you cannot figure that out. That is a coaching issue. That's a hardcore coaching issue. And they need to figure that the fuck out. Like, real quick. Like, yesterday. Figure it out.
So you think that's a DeMeco Ryans issue?
I don't even know their head coach because he's so useless to me right now. Is that who that is?
Ryan. I think it was the Niners' old defensive coordinator.
I don't know, dude. He needs to figure it out. Is that who it is? Because that's how, 100% that's his issue. I don't know. I'm not even going to say that. So I don't like to blame a coordinator issue. I like to blame a head coach issue. And that was an issue with when Vrabel was with the Titans. That was a Vrabel issue. Because the problem is the head coach will not abandon their OC or their defensive coordinator. They will not abandon their coordinators. And I understand that. That's loyalty to a fault, though. And so right now, this is all a coaching issue of why they have this problem. It's a coaching issue. At the end of the day, it's not a player issue. You have the talent. It's not being utilized correctly. Because at the end of the day, there are players. There's only 2 types of players, bro. There's system players and natural talent players. You have nothing but natural talent players right now. And you can't get it done. That's insane to me. Some people would argue, oh, well, then wouldn't that mean that they're a system if they're not doing well now? No, they can only do as well as the crappy coordinators getting them. Like, and this is coming from a Titans fan.
That's something crazy. They're the number 2 ranked team in the AFC right now. They're 5-1.
Like I said, this is the craziest. Well, of course, Houston's going to be that good. Look at the.
So they are going to play.
Titans?
So what you're saying is, they're going to probably, because their division's Colts,
they're
Titans, Jaguars. They're going to win that. So
that's.
But do they beat
6 free games?
So they'll probably play. Do you think they can beat the Jets with Devontae if they get it going? I'm just thinking of teams that could probably be in it. Do you think they could beat a Miami with Tua? A Miami with Tua?
Yes. I don't think they'll beat the Jets.
The Steelers with Fields?
No. Yes. Yeah, they'd beat them.
A Bengals?
Yep.
You think they could be the Bengals?
Yep.
Ooh, I don't know about that. Well,
Yep.
we'll see.
Because
I
I'm
think
looking
that'll
at
be interesting.
defenses. I'm looking at defenses. Bengals defense I don't like. I don't know what they got going on. Pittsburgh's defense I like, but their offense, even with Fields is not as amazing as everybody makes him out to be, bro. Like,
No.
look at his stats. He gets like one touchdown maybe every 3 games. Like, bro, he's not amazing. He's just surrounded by a good defense.
I'm just thinking, what's the first game they're gonna play, right? Because they won't have a bye.
Right?
So
no.
They'll play the lowest ranked team, but with the way that the standings are being so weird, I think right now it'd be the Bengals.
Oh.
And it's like, do you think they can really beat the Bengals? I don't know. Dude.
I think they could. But like I said, second round.
I don't think they could beat the Bengals how the Bengals are playing right now. They can't, personally.
I think they could. I feel like because D'Amico Ryans is a defensive mind, so they'll figure it out on defense. But that offense right now is the problem. That offense is the problem. And even though they are 5-1, like, it doesn't matter, bro. When it comes to crunch time and you got to win that game, I don't think that offense will be able to do it. I don't think they will.
All right, I got one more for you, and we'll continue this every episode.
Just because you like to hear me rant, dude.
It's fun. It's so much fun.
You get me all worked up.
Are the Vikings the best team in the NFC?
No.
Who's the best team in the NFC, in your opinion? If you say the Lions, I'm going to say no.
No.
I strongly disagree with you.
I'm actually...
Who's the one team that you think can go to the Super Bowl out of everybody in the NFC? Like, the AFC for me is Kansas City or Ravens. Like, those are the teams where I'm like, for sure it's going to be one of them two in the championship game, and it's just going to depend on what kind of Patrick Mahomes you get. And usually Patrick Mahomes at times pretty spot on. So
I think either Philly or the 49ers.
You think the Philly can still do it? Or, well, I guess because A.J. Brown's back and Devontae Smith. So
A.J. Brown's back. Devontae Smith is back. Like, that defense is still good even when they lose players. I don't see why not. I don't think
the Commanders are kind of a fluke?
No, I don't think so. I think when the Commanders get in the playoffs, because I think they will get into the playoffs, I think they're going to upset somebody. I think they're going to upset probably like Detroit. They'll upset them.
Okay.
And then
Green Bay or something.
Yeah, one of those big teams, but it's not going to be Philadelphia and it's not going to be the 49ers. But they will upset somebody, and then they're going to lose right after.
Honestly, I thought you were going to talk shit about the Niners, so that's why I was giving you I was giving you an avenue, because I was going to counter argue and say, I think when the Niners become healthy, we just got to make playoffs, because we're going to have Hufanga back, Greenlaw, Christian McCaffrey. We're going to be pretty solid.
I don't think Christian McCaffrey's going to come back just for the fact of that injury. That injury is too
I think he's coming back
sporadic.
in the next couple of weeks.
No.
To be honest.
No.
Yeah,
if he comes back,
the injury of Mason,
if he comes back,
I think they're reacting to it.
It's going to be no. I think with his injury, he'll come back as a limited position. He'll come back by name alone, trying to freak teams out by name alone. Because with that injury, and he even said it was hit and miss. Some days are better, some days are worse. What if you get that worst day on game day? What are you going to do?
He did it all last year, right? And he put up 2,000 yards receiving and rushing.
He did not put up 2,000 rushing yards.
Total. No, receiving and rushing.
I was about to say, bro, like we're not going down that avenue.
No.
We're not going down that avenue.
Receiving and rushing, he put up over 2,000 yards with 2 bad ACLs. So
that's cool.
Or Achilles,
but now it's aggravated. But now it's aggravated to the point where now you got a specialist coming in. Bro, that's different. That's a completely different ballgame.
I think the homeboy needs to go into the hyperbolic chamber at this point.
Ooh, brother. He needs to do something. I don't know. Go grave robbing. Steal somebody else's ACL.
Oh, come on. Anyways, so that's just a sneak preview of the hot takes.
I don't know. You might as well just call them X's rants, because that's pretty much what that was, dude.
I mean, so I don't know if I want to kind of do those at the beginning or end. I feel like it's fun to do them at the beginning and listen to you rant.
You just get me all worked up. My blood pressure's spiking.
But like I said at the start of this, please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. I thank you for sticking around. If you want to check out our website, we update it weekly. It's www.unfiltered.com. I'm going to be taking pre-orders, so for those of you who want shirts that are local, please look at our website. You can see our merch website. I'm going to be doing some pre-orders. And after that, it's all through the site. A lot of this stuff is not even through me anyways. I go through Printify and have them do all of it. So I don't have to, it's kind of like my hands are free from it. And I mean, there's still shipping and stuff, and I got to pay for shipping on my own stuff too. But I am going to be getting some stuff. I don't know if I'll get it in time for our next episode, but I'm going to get a hat and a shirt and kind of see how they look. But I kind of want to start wearing that. This is our season 1 logo. Rest in peace, Bebo. He's still alive. He just isn't going to come back. So, but anyways, if anybody has any suggestions, if you guys want to comment, you guys want to shoot the shit, hit us up on Instagram. X, thanks for coming on. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Later.